Imagine Alice Cooper with about 1/100th the money.
If the Cramps had been a heavy metal band.
Crazy as H, blood-splattered, ear-splitting hilarity.
The Wizard of Oz meets splatter horror films.
The gag is, you're in the splash zone.
You're covered with goo and blood, and if you're not completely soaked, you didn't have a haunted garage show.
It's like going to a horror movie, except it's actually happening.
It's basically walking into the most brutal, gory film right in front of your face.
It was probably the best part of my life.
I think of him as a guy with commitment to his art.
That's Dookie. I mean, he wants to take it as far as he can take it.
You gotta see this band.
Wait a minute, you're gonna get this.
Oh, thank you.
Slam, slam, slam.
Hi there, this is Tosh from Alice, and we're super excited to announce our So Below Summer Tour coming up. We're playing the Shady Grove Music Camp Festival in Pocatello, Idaho, and I built a little 5-day mini tour around that. That launches July 17th. We're going to be playing in Bullhead City, Arizona, and ending our tour in San Francisco. We would love to see you guys if any of y'all are in the area and have the time and energy to come spend with us. So hopefully we will see you out there.
Hello, it's me, Kevin Vonesper. If you're watching this, you have found the VonPod, and I got all shiny and gothy for this one because we have some theatrical people in the room today. I'm very excited. We're going to have a conversation with Alice. That's Alice with a 1. At least I'm going to ask them about this because Alice is on top there for the most ungoogleable bands, including previous guests, the O and 3. So we're going to ask him about that. Luckily with the 1, they're very Googleable now. So Google Alice, check them out. I have been a fan of these musicians for the most part since, I guess, the earliest I could find in my archive is 2007. So 16, 17 years I've been following these musicians. God damn, they still look the same. I can't believe it. We're going to ask them about their skincare routine, I think. I think that's the goal for tonight is how are you immortalized? And how do you tour so much? It's Alice, you guys. It's going to be awesome. Yeah, I have lots of questions. So let's just get to it. Are you guys ready for the VonPod? Thanks for being here with me and not, watching that garbage on TV right now. Boo. All right, where is my theme song? Hey, I finally updated the theme video. I said I would last time for the next show, and I got it done, so check it out. VonPod.
VonPod. Welcome to VonPod. I've got chicken heads and deli creeps, scary monsters and super creeps on VonPod. You're listening to VonPod. With aliens and scum dogs, I hope you're here to chat along to VonPod. Welcome to VonPod. You're listening to VonPod. You're watching VonPod. VonPod.
Oh my God, look at how many of them are you. There's so many of you.
Hello,
I love it. I think this is the most guests I've ever had in the room. And I'm very excited.
I know we're screen to screen.
It's like a party, yo. It's like a party.
I just want to say,
yes.
I just want to say I love the intro. That was awesome.
Me too.
The intro song. Oh my God.
Music.
It's going to be on the next album, so check it out. Yo, that would be awesome. So you have to do the remix album. It's the VonPod theme. If anyone else wants to get in on that. by the way, good segue. I'd like to plug that my latest album, The Final Boss, is still available. I still have only a few of these. They are what do I call it? DIY. Every cover is handmade by me. Every single cover is hand painted, and that's more exciting than the music. And then later in the year, the third of my trilogy of Quarren trilogy albums will be out, and it'll have the VonPod theme on it because that was sort of part of it. So there's my plug. Let's talk about Alice.
That's awesome.
All right.
I love your cover. So good.
That's amazing. I love that idea.
Yes.
That's awesome. And if you're, of course, out there, chat along with us. We got, oh my God, you guys are blowing up the chat room already. That's so cool. You guys have like such a strong fan base.
It's called the Mad Hatter Army.
The Mad Hatter Army.
Yes.
They are attacking right now in full force.
They're coming on.
Hello. I hope we are friends because I don't want to be attacked by your army. So let me.
It's a very nice army.
Yes,
It's a lovely
exactly.
army.
You're a peaceful army.
Loving, yes.
Well, I guess that could be my first question here is, I think the first evidence I heard about Alice was like 2009 or 2010. You guys actually mentioned it to me that you were working on this Alice project. Was there a concept to it then, and has it changed between then and now? And what's the general origin story here?
So Gordon and Scott and I were in Mankind is Obsolete, where you and I first met.
Yes.
And we were on a year-long tour. And during that year-long tour, we were just like, as you do when you're on the road for as long as you are, you just come up with a lot of ideas. Like open road equals many, many ideas. And so we started jamming ideas that didn't quite fit into MKIO. And when we first came into Alice, and we first started really diving in, we wanted to kind of go beyond any specific genre, any specific box. Like we were like, okay, here's some rough like constructs. We love theater. We love taking people on a journey. We love progressive music. And then go. Like let the creative juices just flow from there. And so we were out camping in Joshua Tree. It's this beautiful desert out close to LA. And during that time, we were like, okay, how in one word can we describe the music that we're coming up with? Because Mankind is Obsolete is very long, many syllables, many words, and we were like, one word, yes, one word band this time. And so we were like, okay. And Gordon came up with the idea of Alice. He was like, it feels very surreal. It feels like we're going down a rabbit hole. We're going on a journey. And it felt like that's kind of our intention, is that as we discover who we are as artists and people, we'd like to take people on that journey with us. And I don't think that's changed. Like, it's just, we sort of left the door open in terms of like, as a person and an artist, you're going to evolve. And so each album has been a reflection of that evolution. So yes. That is Tasha's take.
Yeah. So what's everyone? Does anyone have a different take, or do we all generally agree with that origin story?
Yeah, I would say that's the origin, and then it's gone in a lot of different directions. Early on, it started almost more rocks, a lot of piano, and then musically, it kind of went into a rock direction, and now we've sort of really evolved in much more electronics and a hybrid of the two. So we're all playing our synths plus like acoustic, for me, drums, plus a lot of electronics. Everybody has multiple arms doing multiple different things. So it's really kind of grown a lot since the origin. Nice.
So I'm gonna full screen me for a second so I gotta do my show and tell, but I'm so small on here. Let me see. So the first, I have this Alice, the end of the beginning, and I believe is this like a rare tour edition or something like that? I also noticed there's not a 1 there yet. So I'm going back to my original question. Was that a way to make your band more Googleable?
That's an awesome question.
We also like to look at the 1 as sort of like a diving into the 1, a diving into the self. Like it wasn't just for like the adaptability. I love
Right.
that word. It's very hard to
Definitely
say.
I say that more as a joke,
Definitely
but it
helps.
is also, you know, legit.
It is true though. It helps. It does.
Yeah.
It does help for sure. But yeah, I mean, I think it was also because it felt, again, like diving into the idea of oneness and finding oneness amidst all of the different branches that we've come from. Because each of the six of us come from very different backgrounds and offer something different. And I feel like the one is the idea of all of us coming together.
So I guess that's a good segue into this question about like songwriting. There's so many of you. Is there a general songwriting template for the band? Does someone write a song and bring it in and it's modified, or do you all just sit in a room and whatever comes out?
Oh,
The
yes.
latter? Yes.
All of the above.
All
Yeah.
of the above. Yes.
I feel like it's honestly it's different every time. Like,
Mhm.
you know, every time we like write an album or a collection of songs, like we'll try different things out. Like, you know, in 2020 we all went out to Joshua Tree, and you know, where we actually, you know, that's the origin of the band, right? But
Mhm.
we went back and we're like, all right, let's just get an Airbnb and just set up all of our gear and write a bunch of music. And you know, that was awesome. That's what spawned the As Above So Below album, which we're
Okay.
you know in the final stages of releasing right now.
Right. I
but
want to talk
it's like,
about that at some point too, for sure.
but yeah, I mean, it's been like every time it's like it's a little bit different. We try to keep things a little shaken up, you know.
Nice.
And when it comes to our songwriting, like we all are come from different branches of mediums. Like Carl is our filmmaker in the band, and so like a lot of his visual ideas and story ideas really also inspire the songwriting. So we might be jamming on a riff where he's like, I envision this, or I'm seeing this. And so and Hazel, who is our newest addition, we're about to release a new single, by the way, that we're very excited about. But yeah, like Scott's saying, it's a perpetually, you know, evolving, you know, process for all of us. So
A lot of times there's a kernel there, a little riff, something that somebody comes up with, and then we kind of pass it around, and then we all get together and we just put our heads together and like really hash it out. And then we go off and record. And then after we have the final recording, then we tailor it for live, which is a whole different thing.
Yeah.
It's a complete evolution there.
When you're recording, do you keep that in mind, or do you just let it be as much of the song that is possible, you know? So I always loved subscribing to the Ramones sort of way of doing things, where the album could be the wall of sound, you know, and then live it's just those four musicians playing those power chords. And I love the difference too.
For sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think we really try and become sort of specify on the actual ideas in the recorded version, where everything is there very clear. And then live, I feel like we amp it up. The energy goes higher. We're adding more rock elements. You know, we're playing, whereas I'm playing a very specific drum part on the recording, live going a lot crazier. And same with, I mean, Scott's adding a lot of bigger guitar. Gordon's adding all these different layers. So it just takes a new kind of like energy, new vibe that wouldn't necessarily work for the recorded version, but you know, it's super fun to take that next step.
Right, totally.
And there are elements of it in the recorded versions, but a little toned down, I'd say.
Sure. Here's a good break question that everyone can answer, and I guess I don't know. We'll just go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What was the first band you were ever? Oh, first of all, I guess introduce yourselves and what you do in the group, along with the answering this question. Then, what was the first band you were ever in, and what was it called, and what did it sound like? Like, you know, your middle school, high school, first band ever.
I love this question.
This is awesome.
Oh God, I got a good one. Oh.
Yeah. So I guess Todd should
go
just go
first.
with you.
Oh, me? Oh, good. Oh no.
We'll go from top down, I
guess. First band was MKIO.
Oh, really?
First rock song I ever wrote was Angel Disease for MKIO.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah,
I saw your first band ever.
Yeah,
That's
you did.
crazy.
Yeah. So yeah.
But you went to music school, right?
Not as long as John did. John
Okay.
did the whole program.
Because you met in music
Yeah.
school, right?
And same
Right.
with Gordon.
Okay.
But
In
yeah,
the same
yeah.
music school or different music schools between you and
Same music
Gordon?
school.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's like I met Carl actually in theater school. So doing like both music and theater are like kind of how we
So
met
you
each
went to
other.
music
So.
school before ever having a band?
I actually I'm a classically trained musician. So
Right.
yeah, I was doing this super nerdy like classical competitions and recitals and all of that fun stuff. So yes, I'm a very awkward rock musician. I don't have any like stories of glory or anything like that like the
Right.
rest of the guys. So
Well,
yeah.
so is Alice your second band?
Yeah. I mean, I'm in different projects, like I've played
Right.
for
No,
different
of course.
projects.
Yes.
So, there, I mean, obviously, like System Sin,
Right.
I
Yep.
played with Amir, different things, but yeah, in terms of like original projects like
Wow.
Alice and then Alice Underground, our jazz band. So
That's
yeah.
great. Yeah. We'll talk about that too. How about you, Steve?
I'd say, I mean, first I played in all sorts of stuff growing up, but I would say there's when I moved to New York, I played in a band called Chargertron.
Where in New York?
Boy, I was in New York City,
Okay.
in Manhattan. Yep.
Chargertron.
Chargertron. It
That's
was very
awesome.
punk rock. We played all the Lower East Side and just East Village clubs, and
Like
it was
Continental or
it was
CBGBs?
yeah, very oh man, just very raw, a lot of screaming, very punk, just loud, play as loud and as fast as you can.
Nice.
Kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm trying to think who.
Is there any material out there that people could check out?
Oh
Chargertron?
man, I don't know. They're probably
Everyone go Google Chargertron.
Yeah, Google Chargertron. There may be some YouTube videos, some live clips or something like that. We have a couple albums, but it's been a while. So yeah.
Nice. That's great. I love that. Is Gordon there? Can he answer this question?
Yeah. Okay, so my first band.
Your family is starting a band right now.
Well, we will have a family band. Yeah, Astrid is watching Frozen and playing piano right now. So I'll do my best to speak right into the microphone so that you can hear me over. Let it go, let it go. So my first band with my brother in high school. Get this is the real name. It was called Dysentery, and
is it based on Oregon Trail?
And we played a lot of Oregon Trail, and and let's see, our first song was called Smart Rap, and in order to get the distortion on the kick drum, I put a piece of paper over the speaker on the Casio keyboard when it did its little.
Wow.
Yeah, it was very high tech. Yeah. But a band you could find online that was my first band in LA is called The Ethels, and that's a very fun band. I still get like, it's like a trio. It's like a female drummer, guitar, bass. It's just very White Stripesy, but it's fun. And yeah, The Ethels, you can find that one. Nice. I used to wear a wig, and when you're not playing, you had to freeze.
Oh,
and then you could move when you're playing, and then you freeze when you're not, and you move.
That's
it was such a fun little thing.
I did see a band similar to that in a way. They were sort of a gimmick band at my college called Love Go Robo Bomb, I believe. And there was this guy who sat in a chair with a guitar and just his whole body was tinfoil, like he was a robot or something. And then he would come into action just for the solo for every song, but every song had the same solo as well. It was very funny.
That's awesome.
Just thought I wanted to add.
Every song had the same solo.
Yeah, every song.
I love that.
The same exact solo. I guess they were all the same key.
That's real robot there.
Yeah, it was really funny.
Method acting here.
And he was actually a very like a violin player. He was in bands like Oh Death and Skeleton Breath, if you ever heard of them. Anyways, how about you, Carl?
All right. So yeah, because I'm kind of in the same boat with Tosh, where I had a classical music upbringing. I started playing cello when I was in 5th grade in elementary school. And then when I got a little older, I got into high school, I got really, really, really into metal music. And I joined up with a band. If I'm not mistaken, we were called Kill the Messenger.
I think I've heard of that.
Oh, I don't know if you did.
Really? Where was it? Where?
The other two of them
In this bit, the other one.
The
and
non-Googleable one.
It's like I think there were like so many other bands that were called
be.
that as well, and we didn't realize it until like 5 years after we all like split.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
Same.
played bass with that band actually because I went from cello to bass thinking it was the same thing. It was not the same thing.
Right.
And yeah, I played with them for a little bit, and then there was another one I played with. Same thing in high school. It's just like as hardcore Texas metal as it could possibly get. Like, you know, the shows we would go to restaurants and like push all the chairs and tables out of the way and set up some crappy amps, and then just everybody wasn't even listening to the music. They just wanted to go in and start like hitting each other, and that was it.
Yeah.
So,
And you provided that for them.
and we provided that environment. It was wholesome.
Right.
It was not safe, but it was really a good time.
Well, as my friend Tibby always says, or it said on my show, punk rock should always be a little bit dangerous.
True story. So yeah, those are my first ones.
And she's in Reagan Youth, so.
Oh, fair.
Yeah.
Nice.
Scott?
Yeah, definitely. My first band was, I don't know how to exactly describe it, but it began, I guess, as a sort of like a metal band or alternative band. It was a band called Relapse, and it was in high school, and it was just the best time ever. It was like the only way for me to survive high school was playing in this band. And through it, you know, I got a chance to like figure out how to write songs, and we were playing shows, and it was in New Jersey. So it was like, we were like trying to book shows in like Asbury Park and places like that. So
VFW
yeah, it was
halls.
fun. Yep.
Yeah. I was I live on the border of Jersey, so I kind of was next to that scene, you know, the punk rock, all the punk rock, hardcore, and ska bands.
Yeah, no, it was fun. It was
of
a
the
good
late
scene.
90s, early 2000s. Yep.
Yeah, so that was it. So.
Nice.
Relapse.
Relapse. Yeah.
Nice.
Another very Googleable name.
Oh yeah, no, there's 20.
Although there's
bands
Relapse
named
Records,
Relapse,
you know.
Relapse Records,
Yeah.
which is awesome. But yeah, like we had to change our name eventually because we were like, this isn't gonna work because there's
To Relapsing.
Yes.
No.
Or Relapse again.
Relapse again. Yes.
Relapse again.
Yeah. Hazel.
Well, I mean, when you asked that, I really had to think about, okay, what was the first, the very first, like not the, you know, like one that made any sort of like splash or people knew or, you know, things like that. It's the very first.
I want the unknown stuff. Yeah.
This is so embarrassing though. This is so embarrassing. So I started off as a singer songwriter, playing guitar and writing music like in middle school. And my dad got really into like audiophile stuff. So he got really obsessed with like building a studio, and like he wanted to record me, and he did all this stuff. He spent all this money. And then around like when I was like 17 or 18, he actually hired a band for me.
Whoa,
So he had like hired like these older dudes though to like play my folk rock music with me, and it was super fucking awkward because like it's these older guys like playing with me being paid by my dad. So it was like super embarrassing. Obviously did not work out, but we did have like some rehearsals and things like that. So that was actually technically, I guess, my very first band. But an actual band I was in was a metal band called Strife, who were from Armenia, and they were great, and we had a good experience overall. So I really enjoyed working with them, and it was my intro into this world. So
Strife was that named after the X-Men villain?
It's with a Y, so I think so, right?
Really?
No, it wasn't
I'm not
named
sure.
after that. Yeah, it wasn't it. I think
Another
just give a
Googleable
Y.
name.
It's if you look up Strife with a Y, though,
yeah.
a bunch of stuff comes up, like weird
wow.
stuff. So yeah, but they they're from
They were a
Armenia.
good band.
Yeah, we were good.
Change those I's to ones and Y's, guys. That's the lesson
Ones
here.
and Y's.
It's helpful.
Yes, for the new Googleable age. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. Thanks. Oh, and my first high school band was Project Mayhem. So, there you go.
What kind of music?
It was, you know, grungy punk rock, I guess, mostly. I would say we were slightly progressive, but like not that you know, it was like we're good musicians too, ha ha ha, you know. But then it was very sloppy shows because we would just jump around and punch things, and you know, it was like the more bruises we found the next day was like the better the show was.
Nice.
Kind of thing. Yeah, and I'm still trying to get those songs out. Not those recordings, I mean, you know, just the songs.
Yeah.
I was using 4 tracks and 8 tracks with cassettes, you know, back then.
Nice.
All right, well, wait, let's see who's in the chat room. You guys are blowing up the chat room. I'll try to find the questions at the end. There's a lot of just people talking to each other, which is great. I know I had a few people saying something about, there it is. Thank you very much. I wanted to bring up makeup because you guys, that's like an integral part of like your look. And it seems like it was sort of almost immediate you guys were doing that, right? Was there, I don't know what the question is to ask, but like what was the impetus of that and how has it developed, and does it mean anything to the concept of the band and individually?
Well, I can answer that a little bit. Some of the first shows we ever did were a masquerade ball, and so the very first show we did as Alice, like the record release, I have some pictures. It was a place called On the Rocks, which was above the Roxy, and we just played.
Yeah.
Very much like Steve was saying, piano. You know, Tosh was. They probably didn't have a piano bench, and we were probably sitting on some sort of stool. It was probably awkward, and nobody was there, and the sound was terrible, and you know everything was wrong and awesome.
Punk rock.
And then when we played that masquerade ball, we had to wear masks, so we like did the whole Zorro mask thing, and then after that we're like, well, that's kind of cool. So for a while, yeah, and then it's just like you said, been an evolution, and this most current evolution is like we're doing it ourselves now. So we've all sort of taken it upon ourselves to like be really creative and find cool. It's fun, you know. It's kind of fun after the tour. How much faster can I get with it, and how can I do it? You know, less is more kind of thing. It's really fun.
Yeah, nice. And do you feel like the makeup expresses yourself individually as well as like a cohesive unit?
Yeah, definitely. Like everybody like kind of has designed their own look, and I think it's always evolving, you know. But yeah, that's part of the fun and the creativity, and we all kind of like, you know, have a kind of general idea of what we're going for. I mean, I feel like it's going to evolve with each tour, with each album, you know, but I feel like it's a perpetually evolving beastie. And so, yeah, but that's definitely part of the fun, is everyone like figuring out like, how do I want to, you know, express myself? So yeah, it's always really fun too when we see people coming to shows and that with their face paint and their individual expression. Like I find it very inspiring and really fun. So yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel like your audience comes like that? And or do you think just the places that you play are conducive to that? Or both?
I think kind of both. Like we see kind of, you know, some people obviously are like, no, I don't want to do makeup. And that's totally cool. And then we've had some people that are like, hey, can you help me with mine? And, you know, which is always great. So yeah, it's kind of a mix, but we've seen like kind of across the board in all regions, really, like people that are just find it really fun as a way of expressing. Like I was mentioning, like we have a theatrical background, and I think part of the fun of the theater is asking like, okay, what story am I trying to tell? Like, you know, what different colors can I play with? There's just a lot of ways that you can really dive into that. So I feel like it's something that brings us a lot of joy. So, and I love you. I agree, Kevin. Your makeup looks awesome.
Thank you.
I love the glitter.
Yeah, I'm trying to do this whole glitter and, you know, look, and, you know, for the music project I'm developing now, I kind of want it to be like this, but a little bit more violent, as if like a disco ball exploded into my face, and this is all like part of the gore, you know?
That's cool idea. I love
it.
it.
You.
Maybe shards of glass. Like
exactly.
Yeah.
See, I'm not like that skilled at makeup. This I can do with like a few seconds, you know? And some eyeliner. But hopefully it'll get more elaborate as it goes on as well. and then we should do shows together. You know, once I have a band. If anyone out there wants to be in my band, let me know, because that's the hardest part.
You must wear glitter.
Yes,
Yes.
must be okay with being theatrical. Yeah.
Yes. And we love Kevin. He is awesome. So yes,
Aw.
please stay with Kevin.
Thank you. Here, I wanted to show this picture from Stimulate. And you all got your cool makeup on. And then there's us together as well.
Yeah. That's such a great shot.
I have a couple, I guess this could jump off to a couple different questions. But first, I mean, I see you guys are still wearing the black masks, like the COVID era masks. Is that just a cautious thing, or is that also now just part of the look, or both?
It's more of a cautious thing. I myself am immunocompromised. I have a pretty, I'm the person that can literally look at somebody with anything, any upper respiratory, and it's awful being on the road as a singer, on the road period, but especially as a singer. So most of the people who know me know historically that I catch everything. So even the post-COVID era, like I still wear a mask myself just because I catch everything.
Oh, it looks cool too, though. So I'm, I'd say it also works towards the look, because look, it's just like, the black eye makeup, and then the mask, the black mask. It's kind of like part of it, which is cool.
Yeah,
I think. And I'm just gonna guess that you did that on purpose. I'm gonna say that.
Yeah, on purpose.
Let's talk. I'd love to talk about New York, because that's where I'm from, and that's where I've been seeing you for I guess 17 years, which is just crazy. What's your history with New York in general, and do you have any specific highlights of being in New York?
So I'll let Steve and Scott speak, because they're both they both have their history in New York. But for me, I grew up in small town Texas. So I think I had preconceived notions of what New York was going to be like. I was very intimidated because it's New York, it's New York City. And so I didn't really know what to expect. But when I experienced my first New York show with Stimulate, I found that people were so welcoming and so kind and so supportive. And I was this is an incredible music scene. It's an incredible art scene. I felt very embraced by New York. I absolutely love it. I love the pulse. But at least in terms of the people we connected, I felt like there were so many kindred spirits, so much creativity. So I felt like we were very, very welcome when we had our first shows, and still are in New York. So,
was that the Crash Mansion show?
Yeah.
That was your first time in New York?
Yeah. Well, first time playing in New York. I had some family, but experiencing New York as a performer.
Because I was like, oh, I know you had been a band for 8 years or something before that, but I was at your first show in New York. That's great. And I have, well, this will be another episode, but I have 2 camera angle of the whole show.
Whoa.
So I put that together as well. Yes, it's not great audio quality.
Wait,
but,
from Crash Mansion?
From Crash Mansion, it was the MKIO Stimulate with Android Lust. Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's where we did that interview that night.
Oh man,
I actually specifically remember that night too.
Yeah,
I remember the club. I remember the sound of the club. My experience was low ceilings. Punk rock stage. I was so happy to play that stage because I love the punk rock energy, because the amps that we normally carry that just can't be loud enough work in a punk rock club, and when people are shoulder to shoulder, you just can't go wrong, So it was really fun for Mankind is Obsolete. I have no recollection of Android Lust playing. I just remember all the weird people, Old Man Baby, the mat guy that you wanted to step on. I don't know. It was the one night I didn't drink. It's the one night I was sober. The crazy, I felt like I was drunk because the energy was so intoxicating.
It was wild.
It was, it was a night.
Cool. I was playing with Android Lust that night.
Oh, okay. So I have a 2 camera of your whole set too.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, that's where that was my channel to meet them. I played with Android Lust first when I was living in New York, and then
Okay.
we did a tour with
Yeah.
Mankind is Obsolete.
Right, because Shiki lived in New York.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah.
He used to hang out with
And
us.
Chris, yep.
sometimes. I went to see a Marilyn Manson show with Shiki once.
Did you really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, Manson.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, New York has such an amazing energy. I mean, my whole family, I grew up in San Diego, but my parents, all my grandparents are from New York, and so I always had to get back there. And I lived there for about 8 years or so, and then started to play a lot of music when I was there. Android Lust being one of the bands, and there's just so much energy at any given night. There's so many different clubs, so many different things going on, and you can go one to the next.
Right.
And man, I have such fond memories of those playing CBGB before it closed. Crash Mansion, I think, is closed now.
Yeah.
Arlene's Grocery.
That's still there.
That's still there.
Arlene's still there, yes.
The Continental, I think that closed or changed.
Continental's gone, yeah.
Yeah. Man, I'm trying to think. But the East Village clubs. Oh, what's the name of it? I'll think of it. But anyway, yeah, such a cool time in New York, and I think some of that has changed. But every time we get back there, playing the Stimulate shows and that kind of thing, they're late shows a lot of times. So we have this tradition of after the show, and we've loaded out. It's then now 5 a.m. The sun is coming up. And we go take a little walk, and we go down and get like a halal cart or pizza.
That was going to be my next question, because me and Gordon talked about that last time, at Stimulate.
Yeah. And we just sit out there and watch the sunrise and eat whatever we have, and it always tastes so good because we're like so hungry, and it's been such an awesome, highly, high energetic night. And then we go wherever we're staying and just crash. And then hopefully we always make it a point to take a day off there and, get to explore the city. We all kind of go our own directions and do whatever we, a lot of times get into whatever we get into, and then reconvene, and we're like,
Nice.
Recharged.
I love that.
Yeah, New York City is always legendary in our minds when we think of shows there, because there's so much that you have to do to get into the city, to load in gear, to even park. It's just every little aspect is it's different than any other experience, and it's always the best, whenever we do it. And there's always there's always stairs too. I don't know how or why, but there's always stairs.
A lot of stairs.
I know a lot of touring bands, they drop off their gear and then they park in New Jersey.
Yeah. Buses and stuff.
Yeah.
We have a bus. Luckily we have a van and we can fit in places.
Nice.
Sin just joined the chat.
Hey.
Yay!
Let's take some chat questions. Let's see what's going on here. What's my favorite cheese? I don't know. Humor. I like cheesy humor. How about that?
To go with
Hazel, what made you want to join Alice?
Because they're my friends and they're amazing, and I've always been a huge fan. Even though they're my friends, they've been I don't go to shows. I don't, because I'm a professional musician. I just don't go to shows. But whenever they came around my area, I would just go say hi and see their show, because it's just really that good. So it was beyond an honor to join.
Nice. What does this mean? But what happens when you look at yourself in the mirror? Is this like a through the looking glass kind of question, or I'm not sure?
No, I don't see a reflection. That means I'm a vampire. That's what happens when I look in the mirror.
Well,
that's a good question.
I like the moonlight as well. Let's see. Yes, okay, you're just talking to each other. Yes, tour. Well, okay, let me ask you this. Even with your previous bands, I feel like you're always, not constantly, but you're always on tour. Like every year you're touring. And I'm just impressed that 17 years later, you're still always touring at least once or twice a year. Do you have any lifestyle tips for people who would like to do that, like myself? How do you make that work? Because it can't be getting any easier, right?
Well, first and foremost, it really is about it's really, you have to love it. You do have to love it. And we try to take care of ourselves when we're on the road. I bring a slow cooker and rice cooker, so I try to cook while we're on the road. I mean, we get fed, which is awesome.
Right.
And of course, like when we go to different cities like New York, like it's really awesome to get to experience like different foods from the different regions. But things like that. And then we all have like our individual ways of taking care of ourselves. Like I have a yoga practice. Like I wake up first thing in the morning and I like to do yoga and vocal warm ups and that sort of thing. I drink a lot of tea. And I don't know, I think each one of us probably has like different tips, but my number one thing is just really like taking care of yourself and taking care of each other. And also like really like trusting your community, because I feel like what we do is possible because of our community. Our community takes such good care of us. Like truly, like we're so incredibly like lucky that we have these amazing supporters who are so kind and so generous, and who not only come to our shows, and even if they can't make it, there's a lot of support. But they will bring us food and little gifts, and or just bring themselves, and it's true. It's a true joy. And I would also say, if you're trying to step into it, to start small. Like little weekend shows, dipping your foot in to get a feel for what it's like to tour, what it's like to go out of town, what it's like to connect with other people, like especially as an independent musician. If you are, and you don't have like a booking agent or a label or anything like that, like it's entirely possible to do it. But it's like little baby steps, and going like, if I want to do like a bigger tour, like I just have to dip my foot in. And also not being afraid to ask for help. Like I think that's a big thing, is like, I mean, I'm sure Kevin, so many people like from all the different, all the different things that you do, but like just being like, hey, I'd like to figure out like how to play a show in, New Jersey or DC, and then just reaching out to your friends and being like, okay, do you have some recommendations? And I find that for the most part, people love to help. So yeah. I think that's awesome. And we actually, Scott built an app called Tour Router. I'm going to plug it here real quick.
Yeah.
But to help manage our tours, and that's actually what I've been using to book all of the Alice tours. So that's, I think keeping all of the details organized is like a really big part of it. So.
Is that app out? I actually looked for it today on my Android. I couldn't find it. Is that my problem?
We have a web app right now.
Okay.
I'm still working on the actual like phone
Gotcha.
app. So that'll be out probably later this year.
Cool. And I saw that I was going to ask about this anyways. There's an Alice app coming out, right? And
yes, indeed.
What is the details on that, and where do you see that going? Like, what's your goal for that in the future?
I mean, like right now, we just wanted to get an app out that'll be like sort of like a basic sort of informational app, but also provide like push notifications, so that when we have a show coming up or we have a new release, like you'll get a notification on your phone. If there's like a big news event, it'll send out to your phone. Just sort of like a way to just connect with people more. Like the eventual goal is actually to have some Alice games, so we're thinking of like sort of a choose your own adventure Alice game, and just sort of like things like that to keep things really fun, in our universe.
Love that. Mm-hmm.
And the other thing too is like having a portal for our Mad Hatter Army members and the Inner Circle members, which is basically like our Patreon. But it's like something that we built ourselves.
Tell everyone how to do that.
Yeah, so you could join our Mad Hatter Army at army.ilikealice.com. And but yeah, it comes like just joining is for you could just join the regular Mad Hatter Army for free, and you can become part of our Discord community. Like we have a Facebook group, we've got like this mailing list, and it's awesome. So join us.
Hell yeah. All right, let me ask you this. Well, I got all your CDs here, but one of the most interesting ones, and I don't know if you consider this a side project or what, but I want to know about this jazz record you did, Alice Underground. It's just like, wow, you don't see a lot of bands doing that. What is the story behind Alice Underground?
Well, fun fact. Oh, go ahead, Steve. You go.
Oh, I was just gonna say we started out as Alice doing the Labyrinth of Jareth masquerade ball that we were sort of alluding to before, and then there was a New Year's Eve kind of event that was kind of a flip side. It was like the 1930s, 40s kind of thing, and it sort of we started to play for that, and it's an awesome, like at a big hotel and lots of people and stuff, and so we started to write music. We played some covers and stuff, and then we really enjoyed it, and we kind of rocked out the jazz a little bit, and so we were like, this is cool, let's take this someplace. And so we developed a lot of songs, a bunch of originals, played some covers as well. Gordon is in the jazz world. I mean, in LA, he's playing all over the place, but playing jazz. So he has some amazing friends and musicians that joined us, and like some of the people that played on our albums were playing insane things. And it was just like this weird, cool side project, but we started to do it more and more, and it became really fun. For a couple of years in there, we really kind of put a lot of effort and time and energy, played a lot of shows around LA. And then we said, okay, let's get back to, I think, our main thing, which is Alice. But it's been a really cool kind of alternative kind of thing for us.
Nice. Has the fans responded well to that? Like, being that it's such a different genre?
I think so. I mean, it's a different look for us, and people, it might not be people's cup of tea, but you definitely hear our personalities. You hear kind of where we're coming from in the music.
Yeah.
It's all of us still playing, kind of rocking out these, even though we're playing acoustic instruments, it comes from the same kind of punk rock mentality, I would say.
Right.
So there's a little different, oomph to it.
Yeah, I think it's cool because, not that I don't like jazz or anything, but it's not something that I would usually listen to. And because it's you guys, I bought this and I listened to it, and it was just like it's something different in my car that day,
Yeah.
Nice.
That's awesome.
There was a
Thank
particular
you, Kevin.
tour that we've had. We did a tour where we actually went out. Tosh had booked us around. I remember El Paso, especially being a city that loved our jazz, but we had a show in Austin where, let's see, we did the front room as Alice Underground, and then we went to the back room and we did a blended Mankind is Obsolete / Alice set with the horn player from the jazz group, and then we went out and did the front stage again with a little side project punk rock thing called Bash that I do with Scott and Steve. So all the bands have played together, even all the Alice, project bands. So it's kind of fun to actually literally throw on different outfits, and just become different people.
No, I didn't know about the Bash project. Is that like an album that you have somewhere, or is that?
Yeah. There's a
Bash.
We've got two. We've got two albums recorded, but we also have some rockabilly stuff called Bashabilly, and that's kind of like just punk rock trio.
Nice. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, the rabbit hole goes way deeper on the Alice thing.
Right. Oh, I know.
Once you start digging.
Well, I have the 13th hour here, and then there's this remix. I just want to say, next time you have a song to remix, send me some stems. I want to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I want to get my name out there as a musician.
Yes.
So I think this is the latest, right? As Above.
Yeah.
And you're working on what? There's a sequel, right? So Below. Is that what you're working on now? Is there like an overall concept for these two albums, or what's the story there?
Yeah, absolutely. There's we actually originally wrote all the songs in 2020 January, and we realized we had a double album on our hands, and we wanted to split it up into As Above, So Below, and then when we did another, like, we like doing these creative retreats where we just kind of unplug and then write a bunch of songs. We realized that we were like, oh, I think there's even more to write. And I think we're still in that place where we're like, I feel like not all the songs are going to make it to the album, but it's awesome that we wrote them. But I feel like there's even more to write for the So Below. But yeah, we've been playing around with a lot of themes. Our friend Daphne actually did the artwork when you were lifting it up. And she did the inverse for So Below. And so it was also with the intention of turning the whole thing, the double album, into our first vinyl. So that's going to be, isn't that beautiful? Daphne's amazing.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, she was communicating with us as we were writing the songs. So it's another example of like a collaboration where like the art influenced the music, which influenced the art. We were going back and forth. So yeah, that's been a deep rabbit hole for us.
Nice. And is there like a general theme to the material in terms of the lyrics and that kind
Yeah,
of thing?
definitely. As you can see from the artwork before, we were playing around with the idea of the breaking of chains. And when we were first writing the songs, we were dealing with different loss, like different personal loss. And so it was like some of the songs that came out were helping us face mortality and what it is to be human, and the process of life and death. And so the tree of life is the theme that is making itself into not just the visual art, but the songs as well. Just kind of examining what it is to be in this human experience.
And I don't know if this is a whole separate thing or if it's related. Let me pull this up. I have this little comic book thing. Is this
Nice.
related to the albums, or is there going to be more of this? What's the story with the comic book thing?
So
that was you.
Carl is our lead character, actually, in
Oh, yes.
Yeah, he's an incredible performer, actor, and so he is our lead character in that. And so Gordon mentioned the Alice project. So we actually have like multiple projects, including Metal Moo. It's a little tangent, but Metal Moo is actually a project where Carl is the voice, and it's a cow puppet that sings metal, and it's awesome.
He rocks. Yeah,
that's
amazing.
That's totally up my alley.
Yes, you would love it. You would love the music stuff.
I'm in green jelly, so like you can't get more punk rock puppet than that. So
that's
yeah.
awesome.
Oh yeah.
But
yeah.
Okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no. So when Gordon mentioned that we had a show where there was like multiple projects that were playing at a show, one of the things we thought of is like, what if we were to combine all of these, because we've written so much music that encompasses so many different styles, and we were like, how could we tell a story in a theatrical way that encompasses the Alice project? And so Flight is kind of a conception of a dance theater piece originally, with the band serving as sort of the Greek chorus and the soundtrack to the story. And when I initially approached a theatrical producer, about like, okay, what would it take to produce the show? And she laughed and she was like, it would take a Cirque du Soleil budget. I was like,
which is like how many millions of dollars?
I mean, I don't remember the exact number, but like she was like, it's a Cirque du Soleil budget. And so one of the things I really appreciate about our group is that, coming as independent artists, it's sort of like, okay, you're presented the mountain. We talked about this earlier, like with tours, like how do you start out? Well, one step at a time. So we were like, given the resources that we have, what are we able to create? Well, starting off, this little teaser graphic novel. So it's a little seed of what we envision of being able to do someday, like a big theater piece, Flight. And it's a story that we've actually written out, that we would like to be able to bring in like all of the different projects of the Alice project to tell that story. And Flight, the idea of it, the premise is, it's basically humanoid birds that have forgotten their true nature, which is how to fly. And the story behind like why is it that they gave up their wings and their ability to fly, even though that's in their very nature. So it goes back to the breaking of chains and finding your freedom.
Wow, cool. I know you mentioned like a dancing and dance troupe, and I noticed that dance is a very prominent thing in your music videos. How did that come about? Is there like an Alice collective of artists and dancers? And also I wanted to mention that you have like a whole video album for one of your records, right? And was that intentional from the beginning of planning that album, or?
Oh yeah, the 13th Hour is 14 songs, but basically we made this intention of releasing a new song, a piece of art, and music video every full moon. And we did this even while we were on tour. So we were literally like pulling over by the side of the road and shooting the videos and like making this while we were on tour.
Is that what a moon drop is? Because that was one of my questions.
That's a moon drop.
Okay, now That
in the
makes
job.
sense.
Yeah. And so this was something, Carl was foundational in this, like sketching out like the story and being like, okay, what are all the different stories and songs that are going to tie in and tell a whole story. So we do actually have something called the anthology, which is like the movie of all the videos like constructed together. And it was interesting and amazing because it took over 100 artists to make this particular piece of work.
Wow.
So over 14 months, we collaborated with like 100 like actors, filmmakers, artists, dancers, and dance is a really deep part of our collective. I myself have a dance background, and when we were doing a lot of work with the Labyrinth Masquerade Ball, we were working with a lot of dancers. I love dancing. Like I think it's so beautiful, that form. And so that's been kind of a deep way of us telling stories. And so, yeah, that's kind of, it's one of the first things we ask because I'm like, does this song dance? So, yeah.
Right. That's a good way to, yeah, that's a good question to ask. I did have a question about a song that is, I believe, on that record. It's a cover song, Land of Confusion. Now, I wanted to know whose idea and how that came up, because as you can see, it's one of my favorite records, and I have it on every format from cassette to CD to vinyl. And one day I would love to cover the whole record in my own style.
So good.
Tell me about Land of Confusion, and does anyone love Invisible Touch as much as I do?
Amazing.
Well, we were so one of the artists that we work with is named Joseph Corsentino, and he has a whole, I mean, he did a lot of the MKIO photography and art, and he actually was the person that was like, okay, you guys need to cover Land of Confusion. Like, you
Why
really need
Land
to
of
cover Land of
Confusion? Seems like that's the song everyone always covers. I haven't seen any covers of the other songs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. He was very, very sold on the fact that we needed to cover this. And he's such a dear friend. Like, we were like, well, let's explore that. So yeah, I don't remember how we actually initially approached that. I don't know, Scott, you, Gordon.
I think we were recording like some other covers at the same time. I remember hashing out, remember when we recorded, we have a bunch of Bowie tunes that we recorded that we haven't released. And we were like, I mean, even Jesse was there, remember? We were doing those sessions, that session at Steve's. And I think we dedicated to like the third day to doing covers. And I can remember kind of working out the bridge, you know, and just not knowing what it evolved. It really evolved in the production, I think. But then it's really evolved for us, I think, just live, because it's such a, I mean, it's just such a great song. It's like, you know, it's almost like a, what do they call that? A rite of passage, you know, I mean, doing that kind of thing. We can grow into the song, and it informs us, it carries us. So yeah, so I feel like live we've really found it. But
that one's so fun to play.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't think there was any particular notice to go like, yeah, we're gonna do the song. It just kind of snuck in there, didn't it?
And the music video was one of the first ones where we went out to the desert and shot it, you know, with a drone, and we had it. I don't know, it almost set the course for a lot of that record, you know, the aesthetic for the record going forward too, that sort of desert kind of feel.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, it does make sense in the sense that you mentioned that Alice kind of started as a little bit of a progressive, but also it's very poppy, and that's kind of what that album was for Genesis's career, you know.
Yeah.
That's I want pop to be progressive again. Make pop progressive again.
Yeah, right?
You know, like you try to play a Duran Duran song. You know, Jesus, no.
Another,
you know, Genesis is another one of those kind of bands. It's like you don't know that you're counting in strange time signatures, but you are. Right?
Yeah, all these chord changes where you're like, wait a second, that's unexpected, but it makes it's so accessible that you, like you said, the average person just wouldn't even notice. But then you go to learn it. We've played some Duran Duran stuff too, and you know, we have a couple of cover
Missing
ideas.
Persons, you know, like
missing, exactly. So awesome.
Yeah, some of the chord changes in those songs are just insane, and like transitions and you know,
bridges
and bridges. It's like, oh my god, like this was pop music
Right.
You're
Exactly.
saying it is like progressive pop music. That's so true.
Yeah, I love that. That's what I think is lacking in pop music right now is like,
Oh yeah.
it sounds the same, but it's lacking something, and that's sort of the thing that it's lacking. It's like
To me,
depth musically, songwriting.
the Peter Gabriel thing, that Peter Gabriel connection to to Genesis, the different evolutions of that. People don't really say Peter Gabriel, or sometimes they say Genesis to us. A lot of the time, recently they're saying, what are they saying? They're saying Fleetwood Mac because of our
really?
vocals. But I really feel like the evolution that Peter Gabriel and Genesis, the various sides of that went through is like, that music was just so freaking epic. I don't think anyone's really done that. Maybe Muse is like an epic, rocking, progressive, but poppy.
Smashing Pumpkins, maybe. I don't know if you'd consider them pop, but definitely have like progressive elements, and it's a lot more difficult than you think it is when you listen to it.
Yeah, like the trick. Not too many bands we were talking about it today with Tosh at rehearsal. I have a really hard time finding synth bands that are bands. So it's like it's like a punk band that also plays synth, but also plays their synths like real instruments and not just like a DJ program. The Faint. I gotta.
Oh, you gotta look up the Faint. Yeah.
Gotta put those on rotation again. So yeah, I just really love our blend, just finding that hybrid between the real. And they did that so great back at the beginning of synths, but that now they've, everybody's leaning on the machine too much.
Yeah, right. I agree.
Sorry to jump in, y'all, but I do have to get myself to work. It was so much fun hanging out with everybody. Thank you for having us. And
thanks for coming.
I will watch the rest of this after it gets posted, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope so. Yeah,
Right,
check
thank
it
you,
out.
everybody.
Maybe you'll learn something about your band.
Oh, yeah.
Have fun tonight.
I'll see what I can do.
Good luck.
Thanks for coming,
Thank
man. All right. Well, here's a question. I have a question for Hazel because I haven't heard from you in a minute.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a question so much as just a general topic, but I was listening to one of your Sunday live streams that you do, and you mentioned a love for a certain band that I wanted to point out because they're my hometown heroes. No, it's a good thing. Yeah, Coheed and Cambria.
Yeah.
They're from my hometown, and I used to see them. Yeah, I used to see them and film them when they were Shibuti when I was in high school.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Shibuti?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
That was their name before they changed it. Yeah. So I was actually at.
So glad they changed it. I need to stop swearing. Sorry. I'm so glad they changed it.
Well, it's funny because at the time we were like Coheed and Cambria. No one's ever gonna remember that name. I was actually at the first show that they did as Coheed and Cambria.
Get out.
Yeah.
I saw them in New York.
Really? So I'm from like the Rockland County, Nyack area where they're from. So
awesome.
I was part of that scene at the time.
Wow, that's
when
so
they were
cool.
when they were putting out their first album and everything.
Yeah.
Another progressive sort of poppy band, I guess you could add that onto the list.
A lot of the metal scene considers them too pop for the metal scene, which I don't necessarily agree with because I think they haven't listened to everything.
They're kind of their own thing, really.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, yeah, sure, there's a little bit of that pop, but there's a lot that's a little bit more progressive and dark too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I mean, I haven't been following them as much in the more recent years, but I can't believe this album's like 20 years old already.
Yeah, they do have a new album out. I forgot what year. Was it 2020? I think it might have been.
Sure. I'll listen to them once, and it's okay. But there was a certain magic in that period because I watched it develop. Like I knew the guy who was recording it. We would hear like rough mixes of it and stuff.
Oh,
not that I was very close. I wasn't like close to
Yeah.
the band, but I was close enough to the scene that
Yeah.
I was like part of
That's
it. in a way.
amazing. That's amazing. I love that. They have an album called The Black Rainbow that I want to know
I
what
really love
happened.
that record.
I love it, but I want to know what happened with some of like the mixing. Like I don't know if they switched like producers.
Oh,
or if
well,
they
you know who
tried to do
produced it
themselves.
was what's his name from Nine Inch Nails? The other guy in Nine Inch Nails.
Really?
Yeah.
Atticus Ross?
Atticus Ross produced it.
Wow.
Yeah, they
That's crazy.
apparently the
like
story is they came to Trent's studio with absolutely nothing and they just built, you know, the amps and the guitars there.
Wow.
Not build the guitars, but you know, they just like
That
use
album?
what they had there already.
Nice. Yeah.
Okay.
And the
I
drummer
wanna
was the
know
guy from
story behind
Dillinger
this.
Escape Plan. at the
Oh,
time.
yeah.
Oh, okay, different drummer.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
okay,
mean,
because there was some
insane.
drama with the drummer, right? Okay.
Yeah, he had some issues he had to work out.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I would love to. I feel like that's the one album that I just would love to hear like a like mix and master on it, because like some of it's a little muddy. Like, and it's actually my favorite album of theirs, like musically. It's the darkest, it's the
Yeah, I liked
grittiest,
it.
it's awesome. But I feel like so many of their other albums have this like clarity to their sound. Like you can hear every little quirky part of the music that they're creating. And in that one, I want to hear so much more.
Hmm.
And I would say it's my favorite, but I would also say it's the one I want to hear more from.
Right. Yeah, I think it's, I mean, I don't know what their fan base is like now, but I think it's one of the more forgotten ones, you know,
Yeah.
sort of like black sheep of the black rainbow of the family, I guess.
There you go. That's probably it. Yeah, I'll have to go back and listen again. Although it annoys me because I just want to like, I mess with the dials in my car because I'm just like, I need more of like clarity in the sound. I want to hear what's going on in this.
Well, I
Because so
think,
much of their music is clear, you know, and so good and mixed well.
What's funny about this one, I think, is that they were just recording it as demos. They didn't intend to like actually mix and release it as an album. But I guess the record company picked them up and was like, "You already got it. Let's just tweak it a little bit. We'll throw, you know, the guy from Bad Brains is on there on a track, Dr. No and stuff like
Oh
that."
my God. I want to hear more. I don't know any of their like history or anything. I just love their music.
Oh, we'll go. I mean, I'm not gonna bore you all night here with it, but
I want to hear it. I gotta look.
I have a side YouTube channel that I don't update that often called the Vonesper Studios Archive or something like that, and it has old videos that I filmed of them in high school at like small bars and, you know, like the places that I was playing growing up.
Okay, I'll definitely follow you.
Yeah, cool.
Follow that.
Yay.
I already follow you, but I'll follow.
And
that
everyone follow this channel too. Like, share, and subscribe to help us beat the algorithm.
Yay!
I just, how did you get into Coheed and Cambria? I guess was my last question on that.
Honestly, it was a bad ex.
Oh.
It was a bad ex. I took the one good thing.
Fair enough. Hey, you can't own a band, you know.
You know, you can't own a band, and I love them too much to associate it with that person. But yeah, it was definitely a bad ex.
Nice.
Nice.
I mean, I think okay. Well, in terms of side projects, I just wanted to bring this up to see if there's anything new in this area. This is more of a Tosh question, but I have this book you've made. Is there going to be more where this came from, or what's the story with that?
Actually, it's a Tosh and Hazel question because she is the illustrator. Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I won't show your real name then.
It's okay. I'm an AKA type of artist.
AKA.
You call me one of the
Now
others.
that makes a lot more sense.
Yes.
Well, I was enjoying this again today before the show. So.
Oh my gosh. I love that you have like all the different pieces of
I'm a
Mix
physical
with Us.
media collector. Just wait till we talk about Mankind.
Oh
I got
my
all that
gosh.
stuff too.
That's amazing, Kevin. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Not tonight, but another time, right? Hopefully.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so we're actually working on the second book. It's going to be a whole series, but we've been musing on that, and the writing is coming along. And Hazel's already like mentioned that she actually sees the visuals in it as well, which is kind of how my best friend Fear came together. Like when we were initially musing, she was like, I see it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Very clearly. But also that goes to Tasha's writing. I mean, her writing is so good and it's so profound and it just is so clear. And I feel like I'm surprised you don't see it and write it because it's so visual when I receive it. So, you know, it's a very, very interesting dynamic when working with those two skill sets. But yeah, everything she writes is so beautiful and poetic that it's so easy. It makes it easy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
so,
I love it.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no. It's just, I think that's something where Hazel and I have always had this sort of like amazing kindredship where it's a very synchronous, like we kind of pick up on each other's I don't know, visions, I guess. And I mean, I think it's such an amazing skill that Hazel has, is not just as an amazing musician, but also as a visual artist. So I think that's where, like, she sees things that I'm like, oh, I do see that now, now that you have drawn it.
Nice.
Yeah. So, but
It takes
we're
those angles to really create something. But just like any band too,
absolutely.
You got to have all those
And
things
just a
flowing.
quick shout out to Hazel. She created the lyric video for our upcoming song, Me and You. So it's really awesome.
Yeah.
When is that coming out?
Song. Gotta hear the song.
So it's gonna come out probably the week before we hit the road in July. So I'm looking at the calendar right now. I think it's probably going to be July.
Is this it?
July 12th. Yeah.
Ooh, I love that.
Go see Alice on tour. This is all too far away from me, but if you are in the area, definitely go check it out.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to talk, even though I totally missed your set, and I was explaining to Hazel before we got on at Dark Forest Fest. I'm the official videographer of Dark Forest Fest. But
cool.
as one of my, I've been working with Vampire Freaks for, I don't know, 10, 15 years, doing all the Cybertron parties and stuff. Same with Stimulate and Chris Mack. I've been doing that forever. But I missed your set because one of my duties is doing the VIP photo shoots, taking photos of the fans with the bands. And it was, just the scheduling didn't line up. But I did see with System Sin, so that's going to be in there. But I wanted to ask you about your experience there, because I heard it was sort of like a whirlwind. Did you get to enjoy it at all, besides just working?
It was quite amazing.
And I have this picture I took.
Oh, I love that. I love that we caught each other in the hall.
Yes.
I feel like as many people are at Dark Force Fest, like it is random happenstance if you run into people. And so that was amazing. It was totally kismet when we were like, hey, there you are.
I like taking pictures of the crowd and the people, the most. So I check out the band, and then I go from one corner to the next, and that includes the hallway, and then outdoors to the smoking section, and then back again. I think a good show, especially a convention like this, it's more than just the bands playing. It's just like you got to experience everything.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible, like that. It's such a creative community that comes together. Everyone's so supportive. I feel like there's something for everyone. I saw so many interesting costumes. There was incredible vendors, like so talented and creative, like sharing their gifts with the community. I don't know. I just felt like it was such an incredible experience. It was our first time experiencing Dark Force Fest, and so not only was the music was amazing, because just getting to listen to the different bands that night and different artists, it was just like, I mean,
did you get to see other bands, and what were your highlights there? You probably know most of them already, but seeing them there is like a whole other experience.
Yeah, Rabbit Junk definitely was an incredible one. I did it. It was really fun. I did a little trivia quiz show with one of the people from Rabbit Junk, and that was really fun. So that was my way of getting to know him. Was we did a little trivia show together. But it was really awesome. Like I loved their show. I loved their music. I don't know. There was a lot of really good artists. I know, Scott, you were mentioning.
Stabbing Westward was awesome. I mean,
Stabbing Westward is,
yeah. And they're always awesome. Great energy and stuff. Yep.
Blitzkid was really good. I really like them.
Oh yeah, this could be an interesting question since you're all theatrical people. But my background with Blitzkid is I had him on a show that I was starting about Phantom of the Opera. Yeah, and because he had a whole history with that, and it's a whole cover of one of the Blitzkid records and everything. So he was my first and only guest on that sort of pilot episode. And my lead, I guess that's a lead into this random question, but I like to ask people, like, what's your favorite version of Phantom of the Opera, if any? And are you fans of it as musical theater people as well?
It's definitely my first favorite musical, for sure.
Because my world with it is like the book, all the movies. The musical is just a tiny portion of it, although in itself is like an entire universe.
Yeah, that's true. It is almost like an entire universe.
Did you ever get to see it?
I've seen it. I was obsessed with it, honestly, in high
Okay,
school.
great.
I was
You're my
obsessed with
people.
it. Yeah, I mean, like, I really, really, truly obsessed with it. Yeah. So I've listened to every version. I mean, back then I was listening every time anything would come out for it. So yeah, definitely obsessed with it. I love it.
That's an answer, I'd say.
Yeah. And you know what? One thing though, I have seen it live, and I saw it live like obviously later on. I forgot what year it was. It might have been, I don't know, 10 years ago now, but it was later in the run, obviously. And I was like, I really felt like, again, I'm gonna complain about the sound. But like it needed to be heavier. Like they had a lot of tracks and they were really like not loud. And I think because they were
Was it in New
assuming
York? Or was it a tour?
it was a tour.
Okay, yeah.
And it
That
was in
makes
Southern
even more sense.
California, and they just did not rock it. And I was disappointed because I was like, oh, I got to see Phantom live. And it was like, and then also, you know, the E flat at the end that Christine sings at the end of the Phantom of the Opera song, she pressed a key and it played.
Oh yeah, that's a recording.
What?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because it would like damage singers' voices if they did
It
that
does
for
not.
real every night. No? Okay, well then you should be Christine. That's what I've heard. I'm not a professional singer, but
Does
like
not.
there are certain recorded versions of that show just because they're running around too much, you know.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, personally, I'd be like very thankful, like, oh, I can have it recorded. That'd be great. But also, like, as the audience member that knows that I could do it, I'm like, girl.
That's fair. I was, you know, because it was closing and it was such a big deal to me being from New York, I caught like one of the last week of shows and I got a front row ticket to make sure I experienced it from the front row at least once. And it was such a crazy experience.
Different. So different.
Yeah, I bet that must have been really cool.
Yeah, I have a whole YouTube show just about me, like very meticulously going over it so I'll never forget it in my mind, you know.
Wow, that would be awesome.
Not my favorite guy playing the Phantom, but you know, can't get everything that you want.
Who was your favorite Phantom?
Oh, I'm not really sure, but it just, I would have preferred it would be an off night, you know, for the Phantom. I would have, like, because, you know, for the final performance, it wasn't this person who was the main in the role. I don't know if you knew about, there's some sort of drama there, and it was a whole thing. But the guy who was also a Crawford, not Michael Crawford, it was Ben
Michael
Crawford.
Crawford was the best, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he's like the template, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, Ramin as well is amazing. I never got to see him live, but you know, after you do it for years, it's like I just don't know if your heart is into it anymore.
Right.
I would like to see someone who's.
I'm so sorry to interrupt here. I have to split. It's dinner time for the 3-year-old here. I gotta take her off the TV and get this one fed. So I'm gonna have to leave. But thank you for having me, and
thanks for being here. Yeah, I think we're gonna be landing this plane pretty soon as well. Have a good.
Bye, Gordon.
Bye. Let it go.
Let it go.
Let it go.
Does anyone else have any favorite Phantoms? You know, are you horror movie fans at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's like a ton of, like, I probably have like 50 different Phantom versions on movies as well. And of course the classic Lon Chaney, you know.
I'm trying to think. You know,
there's a Robert Englund one.
Wait, like, are you talking about actual like separate horror films?
Yeah. No, of Phantom of the Opera.
Oh my gosh!
I didn't even know there were.
Yeah, did you know Robert Englund played the Phantom of the Opera?
Okay, I feel like I've dug a little bit into that rabbit hole back in the day. It's been very long since my Phantom obsession days.
I'm sparking it back up.
You're
right
still
now.
there. You were right there with it. I vaguely know what you're talking about. That's the weird thing. I like vaguely know what you're talking about.
1989 Freddy Krueger Phantom of the Opera movie. Yeah, it's pretty incredible, actually.
Oh, I love it. You know what? Here's my thing. I want to play the Phantom.
Yes.
Like, that is my thing. Like when I was a kid and I was listening to family opera in my room, I have videos of myself playing the Phantom. That is what I was doing. I was like up on the couch. I made my friend play Christine. I'm being the Phantom. Like
That's awesome.
so.
Yes.
You know, I guess when that didn't materialize, I was kind of like, oh, I'm a Christine. I have to be Christine for the rest of my professional life.
Well, no,
I really
you know
just
what?
wanted to be the Phantom.
It's time for a gender bending Phantom. Let's do it.
Yes. Yeah. Do it.
I mean, he's
Same
you
with
know,
Judas and Jesus Christ Superstar. I want to be Judas. That's probably Judas Phantom. Judas and
Right.
Jesus Christ Superstar would be awesome as like a punk rock chick that's obsessed with Jesus and just goes crazy and is mad
love
and
it.
like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ Superstar kind of was sort of like we like to call it the inventor of grunge music because it was kind of like grunge music, but back in the 70s.
Yeah. It was pretty heavy. That is actually my favorite musical. Phantom of the Opera is probably second, but Phantom used to be my favorite. But yeah.
Nice.
Hazel of the Opera, DC.
Hazel of the Opera.
There you go.
Come to me, my angel of
Yay. Do you guys like Wicked? I know that's coming out as a movie soon, right?
Yeah.
Antonio
I've seen
Banderas,
Wicked.
yeah, he was supposed to play it at one point.
Yeah,
I've never
Wicked's
seen Wicked. Yeah.
I've seen Wicked. That was good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw it once, yeah.
Amazing singing in it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I've done the one song Popular for my work. I've sung that a couple times.
Cool.
That's it.
Well, what's, I guess to sort of start to end this, what's next for Alice? Tell us the future. I know you kind of got the whole year, the rest of the year kind of booked with shows and recording. And what is there any, and I guess, the eventual musical, like do you have any other like out of the box ideas for this group, that hasn't been realized yet?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, so starting small, our single comes out July 12th, Me and You. And that's going to be one of the songs that's on So Below, finishing the As Above So Below album. We have a couple more tours left this year. So we have our summer tour. We're going to be playing the Shady Grove Music Festival in Pocatello, Idaho. We're going to be playing Absolution Fest in Tampa in the fall. So we have like a lot of shows like built around both festivals to get us there and back from LA. So that's just like, this year. But in terms of big picture, I know we want to do a cover album like that. We've had a lot of like really cool suggestions from our community where they're like, oh, guys should cover this. And we're like, well, yes, we really, really want to. There's that. Our friend has an amazing, it's like a pixel animated art called XRL7. You should check it out. His YouTube is awesome. Like he has a whole like animated series. So we're doing a song with him. That's like going to be on one of his episodes, and I voiced a character on there as well. And then another big picture thing is like really realizing flights, like bringing that to life. And then yeah, it's just I don't know. I think there's a lot of open. It's like I love the open-ended question, but I think those are some of the things that I'm thinking of. I don't know, any of y'all?
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like we're really wanting to get back to doing more music making. Like we've been touring so much for so long, and that's not going to stop. But we really want to be more prolific. We want to like really explore the music side more so. So very excited about that.
Sweet. Yeah. And Hazel, you have a newish song out solo too, right?
Yeah, that's right. Thank you for
promote yourself.
Yeah, I've got a new song out, The God You Feed. This is a pretty heavy subject matter, kind of just about being an oppressed demographic and finding a way to seek revenge.
Nice.
About that internal dialogue of what would happen if the powers were flipped, and you would, what kind of repercussions would be there. So it's a little heavy, but it's good. It's a symphonic pop, electro pop song.
Yeah, I noticed your music is sort of more in the pop realm. Are you going to bring
Yeah.
some of that into Alice, or what's your now that you've jumped into the band, like how are you going to disrupt their musical flow?
I might mess it up. I don't know. I haven't tried yet, but we'll find out. I'll be like, hey, you guys, I kind of wrote something. Do you think you want to listen to it? That might be coming. I don't know.
Jumps in an awesome way. Yeah.
How about Rent? Did you guys like Rent?
Oh yeah, Rent was.
I love Rent.
Yeah,
absolutely.
one of my
New
favorites.
York, it was all the rage.
Yeah, definitely.
So good.
If you all had to do a musical story
love
based
this
on the
part.
music of a band like Mamma Mia, ABBA, why would it be The Cure?
Yes.
I love how you phrase that question, Dusty. That's awesome.
Best question ever.
We want to do Bob.
Best question.
Do we know Dusty?
What's that?
Yes,
Is this
yeah,
Dusty?
yeah. Dusty's there.
Oh, yeah.
Dusty's the best.
Because I know if I'm going to be promoting myself here, I have a Dusty coming on at my next episode. It's Vision Video. Another Dark Force Fest band, and I want to, speaking about characters and how I love theatricality, I want to dig into this goth dad character that he has.
That's so cool.
Yes.
So check it out, July 11th. And then if you like comic books and art and stuff, Chad Shears will be on the show. He does a lot of Garbage Pail Kids cards and all that kind of nasty stuff. And he did the art for my documentary coming out. And here, let me end with this. Since I don't know if you saw the trailer for the documentary I'm working on in the beginning, do you all like B movies? And what's your favorite B horror movie?
Did you know there's a sequel to Rocky Horror Picture Show?
No, yes, I think so.
Treatment.
Right, I've never seen it though.
What? I don't know.
I did know about it.
If we're talking about fandoms here, Rocky Horror is also one of my big fandoms. But yeah, I would say my favorite B movie is Shock Treatment, sequel to Rocky Horror.
Nice. The same director and everything? Or?
Oh gosh, I don't remember. Yeah, some of the same actors though.
Okay. Are they playing the same characters, or
I think Brad's in it.
Is it like a direct story sequel, or is it like a spiritual sequel?
It's a little more of a spin-off.
Right.
Yeah, a little more of a spin-off. I've
always meant to check that out.
It's weird.
I'd hope so. Yeah. That's a good answer.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else have any favorite B horror movies?
B horror.
And I wanted to just shout out to a Doug Sackman, who I heard died today. I don't know if he died today, but I heard about the news today. He was a integral part of the trauma team, and I didn't know him very well, but I knew him, and it's just sad to hear that he is not with us anymore. Doug Sackman from the trauma team. Respect. R.I.P.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry to hear that. I don't know if it's a B horror movie specifically, but there's a movie called In the Mouth of Madness that a lot of people haven't heard about, but scared the living daylights out of me when I watched it when I was younger. And I still I think about it, and it's still one of the most scariest movies I've ever seen in my life.
In the mouth of madness.
Yeah.
I think we did talk about this, and I think I need to see that.
It's really good and quite disturbing.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a John Carpenter with Sam Neill. Yes, I think I did.
Sam Neill.
I think maybe I saw this on a Joe Bob.
Love that.
Nice. Yeah, I love his Event Horizon.
I was gonna. Oh my god, I was just gonna say Event Horizon.
Not necessarily a B movie, but
that movie.
Wow.
Messed me up. I was actually just gonna say I was gonna interrupt y'all and say Event Horizon. That's weird.
My brother worked in a movie theater back when it came out, so I was way too young to go see it, but I would just sneak into movies, and I watched that movie in an empty theater. It was just me, surround sound, scared the shit out of me.
Not smart.
Yes.
I would not.
Yeah, no, I loved it for that, but it's funny when you watch it now and it's kind of a little cheesy, it didn't age. It's still great, but it's the effects and stuff are a little cheesy.
It's still scary.
Yeah, definitely check out Event Horizon. Scary space movies, yeah.
Scary space movie.
Anyone else? Steve, Tosh?
I will admit that I don't do well with horror movies. I am a complete and total scaredy cat. So I guess with my friends it's really fun. So Clint loves that I get very scared with horror movies. So he has taken it upon himself to introduce me slowly to different like horror movies. I like
horror
to
is
read.
usually more like comedies.
That's what you say. I mean, he introduced. I forget what was I watched with him, but it was like he was like, "This is supposed to be funny." Like what was the one? I can't even remember. I'm gonna remember it later. It's like something with a boomstick.
Oh, Army of Darkness?
Army of Darkness. I was
Yeah.
terrified. I was really terrified. So I like to read horror, but like actual movies, I think it's a soundtrack that gets me. Like
Clint says it was Hot Fuzz.
It was Hot Fuzz. Thank you, Clint. Yes, I couldn't remember. Yeah, like
That's funny. Yeah, no, that's a comedy.
I was very scared.
Wait, so you're scared of that?
I mean, there's zombies in it or whatever, right? But
Oh my goodness!
It jumps out at you. And
I gotta see some movies with you now. You sound like you'd be fun in a movie.
yeah, get
I'm
some
very
popcorn.
entertaining.
It's the best.
That's
Be
funny.
prepared for many jumps and many squeals.
I love it. I love that too much.
All right, Steve, your turn.
I mean, growing up, my favorite was Poltergeist. That I watched.
That did not age well. That did not age well.
Yeah. I also loved all the campy, Halloween, Friday the 13th, and all those. I mean, those aren't B movies, but those. I spent a lot of time watching those, and I had a friend a while ago who was slaughtered in one of the first Friday the 13th.
Oh.
Yes, Killer Clowns, of course.
I was like,
oh, get out.
Yeah.
That's fun.
But yeah, those. Yeah.
I don't know if I would call her a local celebrity because I don't think people know she's from around me, but the woman who played Freddy Krueger's mother is someone that I know because she's a local here.
Oh my gosh.
And she does the conventions and like the whole
Good for
habit and like the what do you call it?
It's a habit, right?
It's a habit. Well,
Yeah,
they're nuns. She's the nun
habit,
outfit.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the nun outfit. Yeah, I think just a habit. That's so funny. Good for her.
Reanimator's a good one. Yeah. Halloween. Sure. I guess that's
Halloween.
all right. Now we're just talking about horror movies.
Now we're just. I mean, that's why I was like, Rocky Horror really is like. It's not even a horror film, but yeah, that was probably my top. Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, this has been super cool. Thank you guys so
Yes.
much.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, of
Thank you for
course.
having me.
I think you answered all my questions. So let me see. Let me check my
Yay.
notes and see if I had any. Yep.
Skincare.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, she kind of did the whole tour self, But if anyone has any tips, throw them in there now.
Hydrate.
Dermalogica Pre-Cleanse is amazing for taking off makeup.
It is the only thing that works.
Mhm. Yeah.
And sparkle.
And sparkle. Yes. There's always room for much sparkle. Yes. Yeah.
Awesome.
But thank you so much, Kevin, for taking the time and for your thoughtful questions, and to everyone here for hanging out. And
Yeah, you guys are.
such a joy.
Your army is definitely blowing up the chat. I'm
Oh,
so glad that you guys,
We love them.
and then go and like and share and subscribe, like help me with the algorithm. And come back for Vision Video, you guys.
Yay.
Yeah.
All
Awesome.
right.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
All right.
Like, share, subscribe.